everyone, welcome back. In this video, we're going to talk about complex sentences. By now, you already know simple sentences and compound sentences, but complex sentences are where your writing really starts to grow. They let you connect ideas in a smarter, more organized way. By the end of this video, you'll know what makes a sentence complex, how to spot the dependent clause, and why they can make your writing clearer and more polished. All right, so let's start simple. A complex sentence has one independent clause and at least one dependent clause. The independent clause can stand alone because it's a complete thought all on its own, but the dependent clause can't. It needs the main clause, the independent clause, to make sense. For example, I bought milk because the store was closing. This sentence is complex because it's made up of the independent clause, I bought milk, and the dependent clause, because the store was closing. Now, how is this different from a compound sentence? Well, a compound sentence joins two independent clauses together. For example, I went to the store and I bought milk. Both of those parts could stand alone as independent sentences. A complex sentence looks a little different. I bought milk because the store was closing. See the difference? The part because the store was closing can't stand on its own. It depends on the main clause, on the independent clause. So how do you spot a dependent clause? Usually they start with a subordinating conjunction, words like because, although, if, since, when, or while. They can also start with relative pronouns like who, which, that, or whose. Here are a couple examples. I can't go out because I'm busy. The book that I borrowed was excellent. And here's another tip. Dependent clauses can go at the beginning or the end of a sentence. If it comes first, you usually need a comma, like this. Because it was raining, we stayed inside. That's an example of a dependent clause at the beginning of a sentence. Or it can come at the end, like I said. We stayed inside because it was raining. But they can also be embedded inside another clause. You just saw an example of this a second ago with the book that I borrowed was excellent. And we'll get more into that in our next video. So why should you care about complex sentences? Because they make your writing stronger. They show that you can handle more than one idea in a sentence, and they make the relationship between those ideas clear. Instead of just stacking simple sentences together, you're showing how your thoughts connect. For example, complex sentences can show cause and effect. For example, I stayed inside because it was raining. They can show time. I left after I finished my homework. They can show contrast. Although I was tired, I went to the gym. And they can show conditions. If it rains tomorrow, we'll cancel the picnic. And sometimes you'll see sentences that are both compound and complex. Those have two or more independent clauses plus at least one dependent clause. For example, I went to the store because we needed milk and I also bought some bread. So here's the bottom line. Using complex sentences makes your writing flow better, helps you show logical connections, and prepares you for academic writing and tests. Plus, it shows real critical thinking because you're not just writing sentences, you're linking ideas. Remember, a complex sentence has one independent clause and at least one dependent clause. Try taking some of your own simple sentences and adding dependent clauses. You'll see the difference right away.